Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM22. It's Youth Factory. This is episode 59. A little break to get back at it, but here we are. And what we have right now is we're still in the off season. It's December the 20th. Some things are changing, and we're right in the middle of that. So here's what's happening. First off, it's been a very good month for the club financially for relatively kind of the first time. Uh, right now, we are seeing a huge increase in income, almost triple what we would normally see in a good month. Main reason for that is prize money for finishing 10th in the league is a lot better than it was in the third tier. 382,000 for finishing in 10th place. So big increase there. But that still does not make up for the youth setup costs in any way, shape, or form. Also, new sponsorship deal. We went from making 75,000 each of the last handful of years to now, with new deals coming in place, that jumps to 188,000. So there's an extra 100,000 there. The income, the prize money, I think comparatively is a couple 100,000 more or 150,000 more. There's an extra $250,000, and that is absolutely, that's big. But bonuses, we're in a higher division. Bonuses are higher here as well. So 100,000 going out in bonuses. And of course, we're still paying, 20,000 a month to staff, and we're still paying 16,000 in those loan repayments, that long-term debt after the administration that we were placed under. And so, yeah, that extra money is super helpful, but it doesn't all just go straight towards improving our financial situation. And we are still a year on from being balanced in the checkbook. We're still $350,000 in debt. That shows no sign of improving. So I have news. It's the winter solstice. It's Yule tide, and we have been visited. Idun has come to visit us, and she, the goddess of youth, the goddess of immortality in the Norse mythology, she has presented us with an apple. The apple which provides the Norse gods with their immortality, for those who aren't familiar with the Norse mythology as much as other mythologies that exist out there, such as the Greeks or the Romans, where their gods were infinitely with their immortality. The Norse gods do age, but these apples restore their youth, and again and again and again. And Idun is the protector of these apples. Idun has graced us with her presence and will grace us with her presence every 20th of December to do one thing. That one thing is to be the patron of our youth, as in our youth setup. Last season, we spent 1.3, almost 1.4 million in our youth setup alone. Now, when you compare that to all of our other expenditures, it appears to be as much as everything. Actually, it's more. It's more than everything else combined. Last season, our total expenditure was 2.35 million. 1.37 million of that. So all of our other expenses combined came up to just shy of 1 million. And then there's the youth setup. Now, for too many years, we have stalled out. We stalled out for 5 years in the third tier. We look destined, after avoiding relegation, we look destined to spend probably 5 years or more in the second tier before we ever even see the first tier. And then you have to climb that ladder before you ever get near European placement. Now, you and I both know, if you ever glance down, viewership for the series is not what it was 58 episodes ago. It's gone down a lot. So the shelf life for this series is in jeopardy, just as the Journeyman series has now come to an abrupt end. There is more to do, but with limited viewership and high production times to try to put these episodes together, there's only so much time, and we're entering that part of the year where there's a ton of releases. In fact, I just put out a video this morning of a new release, and I have another one coming out tomorrow that I'm going to be replacing the Journeyman series with. So there's things waiting on the horizon that want to push this away. I'm done having this series be more about the long-term growth, yes, but more about the finances of this team. Finances are no longer going to be a problem. Idun has graced us with 1.375 in that million range. She's going to cover our youth setup on a yearly basis, which is going to allow us to actually turn a profit, right? Where we lost 400,000 even with all this extra money we just brought in, as we lost 400,000 over the course of the year. 1.37 is going to cover that, right? And that's going to turn that into about $1 million in profit, which is going to, in turn, finally get us to the point where I can invest in facilities, upgrades, stadium. We might be able to get, additions to the stadium at some point, though, at 6,000, it's not that bad right now, and that wouldn't be happening soon. But the extra money is going to make a massive difference going forward, and hopefully allow us to accelerate our growth rate a little bit. The training facilities is absolutely the first thing I want to target. I don't know if it's going to happen immediately, but we're going to inject that cash, and we're going to get moving along. It's intake time. We've got a bunch of elite talents, no less than 6. Keep going. There's 13. We have 13 elite talents in this group. Top talents, just a couple, and 1 good talent. I think getting into a higher division has really made a big difference for us. We will see what we have out of these guys here shortly. All right, so here's our first actual look at the group. We have a number of players in the mid-50s. I'm not seeing anybody higher than that. And in terms of potential, there's quite a few of them above that 100 threshold that is the standard for the most part. I'll tell you right off the bat that this goalkeeper is gone. We will release him 57.69. That's it. I'll have to look to see if he's got any way of contributing. I don't think that's going to be the case. This one's easier because they're far from their max potential. It's a lot easier to let those kind of players go. So these are gone. This one's gone. No reason to keep them. But when you have somebody who's already on the verge of being able to contribute at the senior level, though right near their potential, that one's trickier. You got to see if they're actually good enough to contribute. If they're not, definitely gone. There's another one, just 41.72. So I will eliminate that group right off the bat, and then we'll start deciding from there who we want to keep. So I had already eliminated, 6 players from the U19 graduates, the ones that went up into the senior squad, too old to play in the U19s anymore. A lot of the ones that I eliminated of those 6 were the ones that had the lowest training ratings, meaning they're just not progressing, period. A couple of those were the ones that didn't necessarily have the best potential and were far from it. But that's starting to become a theme of who has potential and actually does develop. And one of the quick ways you can kind of gauge that is looking at training ratings. You can see none of the U19s have tremendous training ratings right now, but there's going to be a few standouts here. There's 6.95 for Foss. I would imagine he's going to be developing pretty quickly and with high potential. He's already almost into the range we need. He's only 16, so I don't know how far he's come since last year. but you can see he's definitely made some progress since last year when he came in. Now he's stagnated since October. That makes sense. We haven't done anything since October. Now, in terms of actual progress, it's hit and miss with this guy. He's only actually picked up a single point so far of strength, but that so much of that is down to our terrible training facilities, our less than stellar coaches, and that's why I did what I did with the finances. It's time to just get this thing into the next gear, and it was not happening organically, and we waited a long time for it to happen, and when it didn't, we are in the situation we're in now. But anyway, look at this group. All of them have 100 plus potential except for Hartman. Hartman's the one that I was looking at, that 5783. And if it was not for his position, he would have certainly been cut. But Hartman is a lot like Christopher Al. He's got pace. He plays on that right mid winger spot. And with that, he's decent passing. He's got a decent first touch. The dribbling's there. He can beat players one-on-one. Now, compared to Christopher Al, he's a half foot taller. He's bigger. He's not stronger yet, but at 15, hopefully he'll develop that. And unlike Christopher Al, who's gone literally nowhere, Hartman might go somewhere. So, we'll hang on to him and see what he can do. But with 9 in and about 6 out, the squad is about 3 players larger than it was, and I'm probably not done yet. There's still probably a couple more players in the elimination phase. But as for the U19s, I mean, you can see right now it's at a healthy size. They don't need additional players, but they also don't have a lot of spare, especially when, as the season goes on, we tend to allow the 18-year-olds primarily to go out on loan, get that experience elsewhere. But here's how that new group fits in. Christian Hull at a 66 with 139 current ability actually stands out here. I had not noticed that. Center mid for us. Advanced playmaker, deep line playmaker, central mid. Mentals are really high already. Determination's a 10. Work rate's not that high. He's going to need some work. 5'10". Pretty slow player, but as a center mid, that's not as important. He's got great technique, really good passing. How's the vision? Vision 15. Ooh, dangerous playmaker right there. He just needs to get a little more well-rounded, but this is somebody who is absolutely going to be making an impact at the senior level fairly soon. And with the season ready to kick off, there's no changes to the senior squad side, as none of our juniors are ready to take the helm, and we didn't lose any players this year. So it's the same squad coming back to fight relegation once again. And according to the odds makers, we are still the favorite to face relegation. Now, of course, it's taken us how many seasons to figure this out? And then recently, right away, first season odds, somebody in one of the earliest episodes of this series points out something that's taken us as a unit, as a group, many episodes to speculate and go, I wonder. All those NAs, look who it is. It's Braun 2, it's Odd 2, it's Stebeck 2. It's the teams that have senior teams above them, right? It's the reserve teams that have teams above them that cannot promote beyond this point because of the teams that are above them within their own organization. So they have us dead last of the 13 that can be promoted. And they do have us some ways off the back at 100-1 on the odds. There's 50-1 is the next step above us in the odds. Strumman is at 33-1, which is that next step beyond that. So we're 2 steps below everybody else in terms of the odds. And then you have a wide range of teams at 20-1. Last season, that's the group we fit in amongst. Let's see if we can do that again this season. Recently promoted Asker has inserted themselves right into that grouping. Braun 2 and Odd 2 are the other ones that were just promoted. And then the three relegated sides, Tromsø, Start, and Ilsund, are the favorites to yo-yo and rebound, get right back up into the elite Siren. So without having clear odds of the other three, the media prediction is to have us below all three of them. We are picked to finish 16th out of 16, as we were a season ago. Now, that doesn't surprise me much because, brief look at the squad, we are essentially in the same place that we were. I mean, we have our handful of guys in the 80s. We have a number of 70s. And then we do have a wide range of 60s in terms of players. But there's no changes, right? This is all the same group that we had. Really, the only change that we've had is Guminyak, who's only a 52, who can play a wide range of positions that has come up out of the U18s and that I have registered. These guys, the unregistered ones, because we can only register 25, and they are the beyond 25. So I'm going to be looking to take that group of players and loan them out as soon as possible. Remember, we, unlike everybody else around us, don't get to have a reserve squad. That's where they would all be. That's where Christopher Al would be unless needed. Guminyak would be there as well, but because we don't have options for that one, your hands are kind of tied once they age out of the U19s straight into the senior squad. And it sucks that that's our situation, that everybody else gets not only to have a reserve team, but they get to allow that reserve team to play competitively. As we can see, there's a few of them playing right here in our own division. And that's a real advantage that these other teams have that we just don't get. Our first game of the year is against Ilsund. And Ilsund, as you can see from here, is a big-time yo-yo team. They go up, they immediately get relegated, and they have every year since 2017, where they first faced relegation after being a steady mid-table team. Since that time, they have yo-yoed their way. They've taken a few years at times to get one direction or the other, but the relegation part has been instantaneous since 2017. They're getting back up. They've always been near the top. Their lowest finish, 5th. So this is a team that looks to be pretty dang good this season, as they've just faced relegation, and that's going to be problematic for us, as they're probably a bit above. As we saw last season, right? What we can play with, what we can hang with is the mid-table and below. The top teams, those real professional sides like Ilsund, were much too strong for us. So look for the season to open with a loss, but I would suspect we're going to be in the same boat we were in last season, and if we finished 10th a year ago, hopefully we can do the same this season. Not a terribly large crowd on hand for this one. You would think we'd get a slightly larger bumper crowd for the season opener, but that's okay. It's all good. Not worried about that part. One change to the side today, and that is because Jonas Gay, in the final match of last season, picked up the additional yellow that, even though they were wiped out following the end of the season, and you get back to 0 on your yellow card accumulation, if within that final match you do get that one more you needed to see a suspension, that suspension does carry over, and Jonas Gay is unavailable for this one based on that suspension. So in his place, I'm trying something. It's not expected to go particularly well, but I'm not expecting to do particularly well in today's game anyway, so I might as well start the process. We have one player on our roster that does not see the pitch enough, and that is Modeste. Modeste, who takes the first shot of the game for us 5 minutes in. Modeste, being the backup to Andreasen, is like the third best player we have, but Andreasen is the best player we have, and Modeste just I struggle to get him on the pitch. Now it's nice that I'm able to take Andreasen, who works hard, and see a solid backup and put him on. But outside of that, as I thought Acre might have gone a little too early, but I do think he might have just kept that onside. Our center backs that are hoping to draw him off very much held up their position. It's the retreating move of either Severete or Modeste back there. I'm not sure which, but probably Severete, who, he definitely retreated too far, too fast, and played him on, where the center back partners were trying to check up their retreat. But anyway, Modeste, being behind Andreasen means we're always strong at left mid, and sure, that's nice. And having Jonas Gay means we have a strong right mid, because he's the other player in that mix of what our top three are. But I do like the idea, because after Jonas Gay, we just fall right off. Right mid is our weakest position. To deal with that, to get around that situation, taking one of those players on the left where we are so deep and training them to play on the right makes a whole lot of sense. We're only just starting that process, so he does not have the familiarity. But game time, fantastic way to pick that up, as Modeste makes a really nice play there. He's got the defender battling with him, and he takes not one but two touches to get the ball away from the defender and get a little space, and Bergham's got a knock. That's worrying. You know what? We are absolutely dominating this game, even though we trail 1-0. Their goal is very much deserved, but XG-wise, 0.21 is all they have. We have about 0.7 in XG at the moment, with 7 attempts already. You would think we actually, at this stage, are capable of still doing something. I'm nervous about Bergham, though. I need to check in on what is going on with him, so we know whether we need to bring him off or not. I hate to see him. Oh, he tries to chip the keeper and totally messes that one up. Ooh, dangerous free kick, but Gillo wins the header. That's offside. Flag is raised. Let me see if I can get... Chris suffered a bruised ankle, but we should be able to nurse him through the rest of the match. And then Homedale sitting on the bench, ready to come in for him. Let's see how things go. If they get up 2-0, we'll definitely sub him off. If we get back to level, or last half hour or so, we'll probably sub him off. But look, that's it. They've had a second shot with an additional 0.05 XG. It's been all us otherwise, and yet they're the ones who lead. Oh, Modeste gets away with a warning on that one. Fortunate, too. Looked like the ref was reaching for his pocket and maybe held off. It wasn't much to that foul anyway, but half hour to go already, and Bergham hits the outside of the post. So close for him on that one. Now Lovas looks like he's the one who needs to be subbed off. He's having a terrible day. Let's go ahead and bring on Homedale, and then we will probably bring on a Mankiewicz late, regardless of what the score is. Homedale, if he could have cut in a little bit and got a touch to that would have been... Oh, Moen! Their Ostby comes up with a silly goal. This is absolutely silly, but it's Acre again setting this one up. We've got this covered. Moen, that feels like that's an easy save, and with it 2-0, I think it's time. Let's get Bergham out of there before things get worse. Bring on Mankiewicz. That means our chances of getting back in this, even though they've had 3 shots the whole game, and they are going to win 2-0. Just terrible luck on that part, but 4 shots and 3 goals. Wow. Part of it is it just shows their quality. I mean, Tviten, we're closing in on him. He's got 3-4 guys about to take all of his options away, so he blasts the ball from outside of the box. And there's nothing no one could do. I mean, that was a great goal. Holmdale is onside. He is onside. This guy right there played him on. Holmdale, great read to see that he was there and make the attack. And he gets so close. Andreasen gets our first goal of the season. Great consolation goal. It's nothing but a consolation. And we've deserved that goal throughout this match, but it's nice to get that against a top side. Nice tackle from Fawoli. Severette on a yellow here, and the defense struggling. Haagensen down to a 6.4. Andreasen sitting on that yellow, but we're going to leave things as it is. The Modest experiment hasn't gone poorly. He's got a 6.7. Makowitz should have done more with that, but the flag was raised for offside. I didn't see it offside, but I also didn't see the initial. The ball had already been played by the time my eyes diverted to his position. Ooh, Olberg, bad giveaway on that one. Let's see what he was trying to do at least. Andreasen, good interception. Holmdale, good position to retreat and get to the ball on that one to give an option. Great chance there. And the defense covers that well. Blocks it, kept it in. And in the end, as we are here in stoppage, they're going to finish this game with 4 shots. 3 on target and 3 goals. Meanwhile, we're going to have 16 attempts on goal and have just 1 goal. We're going to have XG that is more than 4 times what they amassed, and yet we are going to lose quite comfortably in this one. Ouch for that part, but at the same time, it does show their quality. As much as we were able to tactically be better and create more, the individual quality of players showed. For example, this is literally 19 teams in... No, let me exclude Norwich from this conversation. This is 18 teams in the Premier League versus Manchester United. Now, Liverpool is going to go out and beat them 4-0, 5-0, because they not only have a tactical advantage over the Manchester United that was pre-firing of Solskjaer, right? The early part of the year, Manchester United, this is the other 18 teams. Now, Liverpool's going to go on and beat them 4-0, 5-0. But the bottom teams are going to be better. They're going to produce more XG. They're going to be more organized. They're going to create more. This is what we did here today. But a Manchester United with little XG, little sign of organization of any kind, a team that's beaten, has individual quality. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to go out and score a brace. Maybe Rashford or Bruno Fernandes throw in another goal for good measure. And the team that wasn't organized, that didn't produce much, just has those individual moments of brilliance. And that's enough to beat that team in the bottom half of the league most of the time. I think that's a good example of what we saw here, right? We were the more organized team. We created more. We deserved more. But with poor finishing, and again, my hands have been tied for so long because our training facilities are so bad. Our coaching staff is very limited. I can't pay enough because our finances are what they are, so I'm stuck with what I have for coaching staff. And then we have the weak training facilities where we barely see progression. Therefore, we have what we have in playing personnel, and we can't just develop them or go out and sign somebody better. So here, we create, we're organized, it comes together, we get 16 attempts. But we only managed to get 4 of those on target. We got 1 in the back of the net. 1 out of 4 is not bad. not bad at all. But it's the ability to finish it off, to actually get the ball in the back of the net, that's a bit of a problem for this team right now. Holmdale, Mankiewicz, Bergam. Bergam was doing okay, but he was injured and maybe impacted by that. Lavas was terrible. So, yeah, the finishing really cost us on this one. And then, a team that wasn't well organized, that was handily beaten throughout the day, takes 4 attempts and makes the best of it. All right, folks, it's early days. Not even everybody's played a match yet, but already off to a bad start. But of course, that was against one of the teams that's almost certainly going to yo-yo or be there or thereabouts in that title fight this season. So for that, the fact that we played better than them is a good sign, but there's obvious worries of our ability to convert chances into goals. We saw it last season. We seem to be seeing it at the start of this season. That is going to do it for this episode, though. We're going to be quickly making our way through this season. I just got all the way through the off-season stuff, and the one big change that we've seen just within this one episode. I don't know how fast it's going to be, but look for 1 to 2 episodes to be the entirety of the upcoming season, unless we find ourselves, in the position we're in right now, as in relegation zone, throughout the season. If we are anywhere near that mid-table, if we have any cushion above the relegation zone, look for us to kind of fly through things. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.